Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link in the description and also at the top of the chat. Can't miss it. Can join discussions about different trading opportunities. I share ideas there, so do other people. And of course, if you're looking to share ideas of what you're looking to trade and see what other people are looking to do as well, feel free to join in. You can find out a lot more information about Elevating Traders there as well. So if you are interested, make sure you head over and go check it out. But guys, welcome back to another stream. I hope everyone is well. Rebecca, good morning. Hope you are doing good. Ahmed, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Dark Sean, as always, good morning. Hope you're well. Ugly GJ this morning. Because I left me behind. Fair enough. That's a good reason for its ugliness. But we will take a look at GJ. Hoping for a trace. Yeah, a lot of momentum to the downside this morning for the yen pairs. A lot of momentum. Things are generally moving quite a lot right now. CHF pairs are moving, yen pairs, USD pairs, as we can evidently see there. So, of course, crosses have made some big moves as well. So a lot of movement in the past kind of few days. Sashi, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome. Vapello, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Follow the trend as always. Good morning. Hope you're good. Miss Short, intraday opportunity on gold. Yeah, we'll take a look at gold as well. What's up, Paul? Hope you're doing good. LFTJ bought the trade you're currently in. Well, I'm in two positions right now, dollar CAD and Aussie CHF. Just slipped my mind there. But yeah, we've seen some downside in gold as well. Silver, some downside in them too. A lot intraday as well. We'll go through a lot of them. What's up, Lighton? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. So yeah, I want to go through some USD side of things first. We'll take a look at the dollar. Then we'll go through some USD majors and gold and silver. Then I'll go through some requests, any other pairs you guys are looking to share or want my opinion on. Let me know in the chat, of course, any specific time frames if you are on the lower time frames, because I predominantly look at the 4 hour chart. But if you're like on the 15, let me know so I can take a look and be a bit of more use to you. But yeah, guys, we'll start with the dollar, which of course has been extremely bearish the past 3 days, pretty much 1, 2, 3, absolutely falling to the downside really aggressively. And yeah, I'm expecting more downside, to be honest. Again, looking at the higher time frames where we're situated, how prices reacted. Looks like prices tried to break through the highs there, but essentially has had a very miserable attempt at doing that. And now we've had a really aggressive fall. So I won't be surprised if the dollar eventually does make a push back to 100. So personally, I do see a lot more downside for dollar. And it makes things very, very simple for me, because now the plan very much is just pull back some more downside. Yesterday, I was talking about the shorts on the retest of this low. Still look really, really good. It's just we pulled it a long way away. So it's going to be quite a pullback for us to get there. DXY is capable of seeing such a pullback as well. But I think in terms of really keeping in tune with the market, be prepared for the market to maybe create some resistance and then sell off from that area as well. If we don't get that bigger pullback into 106.2. But essentially, dollar, very bearish bias. We've got a key low over here where price consolidated briefly, big push to the upside. I wonder if we're at that area already. Just missed it by the smallest margin, but more or less at that area as well. So we might be seeing a pullback pretty shortly there for the dollar, because number one, it's very overextended. Number two, we're coming to an area where we did see a lot of buying pressure previously. But despite that, like I said, still do expect to see a longer term move to the downside. And the plan very much is just pullbacks and looking to short the dollar, of course, looking to buy euro, buy pound, short dollar CAD, short dollar CHF. Those are the markets I'm looking to take advantage of. But for now, the bias for myself with the DXY is pretty straightforward. Pullback, more downside. So very, very bearish on the DXY. In terms of Euro USD, so Euro pretty much the exact opposite. Again, for this one, if I scoot to the daily chart, similar situation in terms of we tried to break through the low here, basically failed at doing that. We had a very corrective time in this area, and we were pointing that out on multiple occasions, how corrective we were, the fact that we had a lot of momentum going into this level, but all of a sudden that dissipated, and now we became very flat. And we formed this kind of rounded bottom, and price now absolutely blasted to the upside there. So now we're looking very bullish. And yes, they were hinting at this area as a major target around 1.09. Again, if DXY is going to push to 100, you're probably going to see Euro push to 1.11. So there's a lot of upside there for Euro USD to still head into, despite the massive move we already had. Again, the plan again is just very much looking at pullbacks and more upside. I spoke about this level down here as a nice place for a retest, but funnily enough, I'm not too sure if we're going to see a pullback that big. It would be great if it were to happen, but then again, I don't want to see an impulsive move down to get there. That's not how I want price to correct. If I'm looking to take a buy, I want price to move slowly, and if we're going to do that all the way down there, it's going to take some time, and it's going to be quite a big pullback as well. So I'm not too sure we'll get such a move like that for Euro. So a similar situation in terms of the DXY, we might pull back, create some support, and then use that to potentially push the upside. So keeping an eye on something like this forming, again, very hypothetical because I don't know where it's going to form or how it's going to form, but essentially just looking for price to create its own support. Potentially a nice double bottom could look good, and perhaps we see the continuation of that. The key thing right now is that there's a lot of momentum in the market. So I don't expect to see a huge sell-off here. I expect to see slow movement to the downside. Price creates its own support, and from that we could see the continuation. And like I said, 1.09 will be the next big target. I still do like this area, so if we do get a long corrective move that does eventually come back for a retest of 1.05, then great. I will keep an eye on that, but it's just that we're very far away, so I highly doubt that. But we'll see. Pound USD, similar situation as well. Very bullish too. Really nice move to the upside. We've well and truly broken structure here on the left as well. So because of that, again, more upside looks likely there for pound. There's a major high on the left here, 1.31. That is kind of my next major target there for pound. At the moment, I do want to see a bit of a correction. We have left behind some nice healthy areas to buy from. I still do like this prior high. We spoke about this briefly yesterday. Pound continued to push the upside. I still do like the possibility of a pullback into this area. If pound USD can give us a nice corrective pullback, I would expect to see more upside from that. You can see the success of high lows prices been printing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simply looking for number 5. And then again, expecting at least a push back to the high. So, for example, if we do pull back from here, then that, of course, would be the target for the trade. We do have some daily targets just above us, but primarily looking to target wherever that recent swing high is on the 4-hour chart. But yeah, we've broken through structure now, which is pretty significant. And now I'm just looking for this bullish trend here to continue. So just again, pullbacks, more upside, which are the same outlook on the dollar. Pullbacks, more downside on USD as well. So it's still very much bearish on the dollar. USD CAD, which is a position I'm currently still in. Didn't really see too much movement in context with the other USD pairs. Euro, massive move to the upside. Pound, big move. Even Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar had some pretty big moves. Dollar CAD did see some nice downside, but again, CAD's just still pretty weak. So this trade hasn't really got going yet. But in a bit of profit, and hopefully we can see a push to the low. I am still very bearish on USD. So with a pair like dollar CAD, I'm always really looking to short. And again, based on where we're coming from, massive weekly area of resistance. Once, huge reaction to the downside there. Second time, another huge reaction to the downside. And now at that area for a third time as well. So expect to see some downside. We had a really aggressive reaction a few weeks back with this move. And the plan for the trade has always just been a pullback of that move for continuation. I originally talked about some shorts on the retest of this area. Didn't really get the confirmations for the trade. We had a bigger pullback than I originally anticipated. We came back into the high, respected it very well, hopped into the trade on Tuesday, and we've seen some nice downside. So looking for a lot more. 1.415 is my target for the trade. But yeah, we'll see how that does develop. There might be some lower time frame entries and some retests of these areas. I don't think it's particularly great because you won't get a nice stop loss in that position unless you drop right down to the lower time frames. And it's a bit awkward still, even though it's a USD pair, which I'm expecting downside. CAD is just still pretty weak as well. So it is a bit of an awkward pair right now, but I am still pretty bearish. Aussie dollar. So this one, as I just mentioned, very bullish move to the upside yesterday. Was not expecting that. I was expecting a bit more of a slow move, but again, with USD being so weak, then it just kind of helped this one to the upside. And I think AUD gained a little bit of strength as well. But yeah, USD is the main culprit here. But yeah, very strong move to the upside. I said some buys look good if we can get back down to the lows here, because at least there we can base some healthy stop losses from. And we already know that price has had a couple attempts trying to break through. So if we get there a third time, there's a good chance we would see a bounce. Of course, that didn't quite happen. Price got about 75% of the way there before having a really strong move. So again, there's not really a trade here, I would say, in terms of the longs. We're more so back in bearish territory right now. If anything, we'll probably do a bit of retracement there for Aussie dollar. So perhaps if you are on the lower time frames, there might be some opportunities. Should we see some bigger pullbacks, something like this maybe? That could present a nice opportunity in the hourly chart maybe next week, because it's already Thursday today. Maybe Friday, but yeah, maybe Friday. But yeah, with Aussie dollar, again, USD pair, I'm very bearish on USD. So predominantly looking for buys for Aussie dollar. And again, where we're situated, massive support on the weekly chart as well. I am looking for a bounce to the upside. So that's still very much the plan for Aussie dollar. But right now is not the best time to be looking to jump into longs based on where we're trading. You kind of want price to pull away a little bit, find support in the lower time frames, and perhaps you can take a nice swing back to the high. But again, that trade might be for Friday, but we do have NFP on Friday, so it might be a bit dodgy. So might be best to wait for next week to hop into some longs there for Aussie dollar. Not my favorite trade, to be honest, but if you're on the lower time frames, it could be a decent setup there. New Zealand dollar, similar situation as well. I spoke about price coming a little bit lower to test support here before bouncing. However, again, price didn't quite do that. We held into support here on the left, and we had a really big move to the upside. So likewise with New Zealand dollar, looking for a lot more upside. We came back into major support on the weekly chart. If we scoot to the weekly, don't know what's going on there. Really massive support here. Again, looking for a bit more upside there for New Zealand dollar. And again, my bearish bias on New Zealand, on USD as well, helps me have that bias there for NZD USD. So again, still expecting a pushback to the high, but perhaps we do get a bit of a correction, which might present some opportunities on the lower time frames, probably even lower than the hourly chart. It might want to be looking at 30 or 50-minute chart for a bit of a correction, and perhaps we might see some continuation there. Some nice support down the left. Maybe we come back and retest that before continuing. And that could be a trade for this week as well. But yeah, ends the USD. Looks like we still got upside in the tank as well, expecting at least a push back to the high at 0.57668, which is the high there. We could go a lot further as well, and I kind of expect us to do. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with ends the USD. Not really a trade that you're looking for a swing. The move's kind of already happened. But yeah, for more upside, I do expect that. In terms of gold, we have seen a bit of a bearish reaction. So price did push the downside. I was talking about some buys yesterday for gold, and we did see a nice reaction, to be honest, from that area. I was speaking about some buys from this level here because we had a really nice push to the upside at the start of the week. Then we had kind of this bull flag situation going on here. And I talked about some buys on the retest of that area, retest the consolidation / coming to the low of that channel as well. We did have a nice reaction in the afternoon, and it did manage to see a push back to the high, but we failed to continue. If we got the continuation and the break of that high, perhaps we would have made it back to the all-time high, the swing high at 29.55. But we failed at that, and price had a bit of a sell there to the downside. And now we're kind of back in that situation, but it's not looking as good as it was yesterday. Yesterday we had a nice kind of flag pattern forming there. Now we've kind of got a consolidation just on top of another consolidation. I would still be a bit on the fence here with gold, because it does look like price is really struggling to continue higher. Perhaps is this a lower high forming for a push down? If I'm going to be bearish in gold, then I do want to see a strong break to the downside, something like this. And then we can look for some lower time frame pullbacks to trade it back into the low. I think that would be a nice high probability trade because at least at that point, you've got price, okay, forming a high. Then we're breaking through some key support, key consolidation, which did give us a push to the upside last time. So be breaking some structure as well. And then the pullbacks will look good, perhaps to retest that range on the way down. So if I was looking to short golds, especially in the lower time frames, I would want to see something like this happen, some more follow through to the downside, and then try and call some pullbacks to trade it back into the low. At the moment, this is still bullish territory. We had a big reaction there once, second time as well. Perhaps we have another big push to the upside. After all, the market is kind of just moving sideways right now for gold. So, yeah, if we are going to see a bit more downside, I would wait for us to clear that area, and then some pullbacks might look a lot cleaner to trade, and a pushback to the low looks good. But the fact that we failed at the highs there is not a great sign for the buys there for gold. You wanted the price to break through that to really kickstart the journey back to the high. Unfortunately, didn't quite see that yesterday with gold. In terms of silver, silver's in an awkward position. Again, I'm kind of still just waiting to see what silver's next move is before I do start to look to trade it or look for any setups. My plan for silver has very much been, okay, if price is going to break through this level at 32.3, I will look to be bullish if we do break through, because then my expectation would be that we move to the next big level, which is at 34.8 up there. If price does have a really strong rejection at that level, then I'm looking for a big sell back to 29-ish, 28.8, 29. And that will be the move I'm looking to take advantage of. It really does depend on what we do at this level. So far, we've been respecting pretty well as resistance. We tried to have a bit of a breakout a couple of weeks back, didn't really manage to do that. Now we're coming back into the level. Yesterday kind of looked like we kind of closed above, but not really concrete. I wouldn't be surprised if today we come back below. So it's not really clear cut right now for silver. Hopefully the next few days it will become clearer. Again, I'm still bullish long term because that's the direction of the trend, but there might be some nice counter trend shorts to take if we do reject this level at 32.3. So that's really where I'm at with silver. Don't really have a setup yet just because it isn't clear in terms of the direction. When the direction becomes clear, then hopefully I will have a setup shortly afterwards. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD side of things. Very, very bearish on USD. And that is really what I'm trying to take advantage of at the moment. Looking for USD CAD to buy while I'm shorting dollar CAD. I mean, it is coming back into support, so we might see a reaction. But I'm very, very bearish on USD, so I'm not really interested in taking. Again, of course, DXY has had such a big move to the downside, so I understand looking for some buys for the dollar because, number one, you do expect it to retrace. And that could be a nice trade to take advantage of. I'm very much in the thinking that, okay, we've had a big move to the downside. So I very much, my plan is looking for some pullbacks for more downside. There's nothing necessarily wrong trying to take advantage of the pullback. But I would expect to see more downside. So that's the trade I'm interested in. But of course, for us to see the pullback, we need to push up first. So there's nothing wrong taking some buys there on the USD. It's just I'm not really interested. But again, it depends on the time frames you're looking at. If you're on the lower time frames, you're probably getting ready for some buys for a pullback. I'm very much just keep looking to short the dollar as long as we maintain that market structure. What's up, Nayuki? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yesterday, Aussie CHF daily level buy. Yeah, it was respecting that level. Big push to the upside. I'm still just about in my position. I almost got trailed out of it yesterday. Again, I've already taken most of my profits, but I do have a small position running just to see if we can get back to the lows there. My stop loss was trailed just above the high there, so you can see it was very, very close to taking me out there. But again, it's a small position, so I'm not really concerned about trying to make the most of it. Again, my original target for the trade was here, and that's where I took most of my profit. So the trade in my eyes is kind of done with, but I'm looking to see if I can maximize my wins if we can get a swing to the downside, since the overall trend for Aussie CHF is still very bearish. So if we do get that breakout, there's a good chance we do end up back at the lows. However, we kind of failed at the lows there a little bit, of course, with yesterday. Very, very bullish candle, especially the day before, that huge wick there. So it looks like price is respecting support pretty well. And if we do keep pushing to the upside, I will be trailed at that position and then move on for Aussie CHF. But we'll see. It was a very, very bullish reaction yesterday. CHF was very, very weak. All the CHF pairs were flying to the upside. But yeah, we are seeing a lot of movement in the market at the moment. What's up, Sultan? Hope you're doing good. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it has been hard to trade Euro USD because of how bullish it's been. I've been looking at pullbacks, but the market just hasn't pulled back at all. So again, it will do. If you look at the general history of price action for Euro, sometimes we'll have very, very big moves, but the market almost always does have a pullback. How big the pullback is, that's a different question, though. Sometimes we have bigger pullbacks, sometimes we have smaller pullbacks. So sometimes you'll miss them. But again, the idea of trading is not that we're trying to take advantage of every single move. We're just trying to make sure we're taking good trades that fit our edge well. And that's very much our focus. But yeah, Euro USD has just been flying. So I'm waiting for some retracement, and then hopefully I can find some longs. What's up, CS Integrated? Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Excuse me. What's up, Ferrogams? Hope you're well. Euro cuts interest rates, Euro USD will sell, and if jobless claims comes up positive, means Euro USD will sell again. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Hopefully that will happen, because I do want to see a bit of a correction for Euro. I do want to see a bit of a correction. What's up, Ben? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Is this the low on US indices for a little bit of a relief? Yeah, indices have been falling pretty hard as well. I'll go take a look at them. Yeah, CHF has been, CHF has gone from being very, very strong to suddenly being very, very weak. I'll go through pound yen quickly because that was requested earlier, and then I'll go through some indices. Any other requests that I haven't looked at, just let me know, and I will take a look at them for you. Yeah, pound yen. Yeah, yen pairs have been all over the place, to be honest. They've been up, down, up, down. GJ especially, I'm not really a big fan of the price action. What is this? What's going on here? Overall, the market is still just about bearish on the 4-hour chart, but it's just not great. It's not structure you get excited about. It's becoming very, very flat. So I wonder if we're steadily getting ready for a move to the upside. So I just want to see some momentum from somewhere. There was a pretty big drop this morning on this 4-hour candle. So price was looking pretty bearish on our way down. But again, I don't know what to do with that information, because overall the market's still very, just very flat. We'd be surprised if we push up and then have another push back to the upside with these high lows here. I wouldn't be surprised if we do something like that, to be honest. But then again, the market's flat, so that doesn't really interest me, that move. So yeah, overall with pound yen, at least on the 4-hour chart, I'm just kind of staying away and waiting for more information. Euro yen's had a pretty big move to the upside, but Euro's been a lot stronger than pound. And pound's just been kind of a bit hit and miss, really. But yeah, in terms of the overall bias I have for this pair, it's still very much the same. It hasn't changed for a while. Still looking at pushback to the low there. I wonder, potentially we're going to push to the upside first and then make a move down. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. That could be the possibility. In fact, that would be an opportunity that does interest me, because at least I'm now pushing to the extreme, so I can get a really nice entry for a healthy stop loss, potentially swing it back into support there. That will be a really nice risk to reward. And again, hold positions to the low, kind of what I'm doing with Aussie CHF to see if I can really maximize the trade. Yeah, but at the moment, nothing really there to report on, at least on the 4-hour chart. Lower time frames, not a big fan of as well. But like I said, as we do approach this kind of area here, I wonder if we do potentially buy something like that. So in the lower time frames, that's kind of what we're looking at. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the market structure at all. Okay, so we'll go through some indices next. So there is no bottom yet for the DXY. Again, the bottom could form. The bottom could form, as in that is going to be the low for us to pull back. That could be. It's difficult to say yes or no to that. But again, I'm not really too concerned about the bottom because I'm not really looking to try and call it. I'm very much wanting to see a pullback from more downside. So I do want to see the bottom form, but I'm not looking to trade it, So that's kind of where my interest lies. But it could be. I mean, we're starting to slow down, but there's still a lot of momentum. I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see another drop like that, even if it's just a wick for price to then push up the following candle. Trying to call it with a tight stop loss as well. If your stop loss is just going to be below here, you're asking for a lot of trouble there. So yeah, it could be the bottom. We could push down another couple candles. Who knows? All I can say really with the DXY is that I'm expecting a pullback pretty soon because the market is very stretched. You can look previously when we do have these big moves here, big push to the upside, the market almost always will have some type of correction. Sometimes it'll be a lot bigger, sometimes it'll be a lot smaller. But we are coming to a point where the market is going to form a low to have a bit of a correction now. So I expect that in the next day or two. And then I'm looking to short the pair if I can see sufficient opportunities to get into some trades. But yeah, hard to say if it is the bottom. Okay, so let's go through some indices. So it's been interesting for the indices because they've been pretty bearish, falling to the downside pretty hard. US 30, nice reaction. I talked about some shorts and the retest of this one yesterday. Nice reaction on that level. And this morning is kind of where we're seeing the momentum from. So it does look like for US 30's case, we still got a bit more downside to go through. Looking for a push back into support. So 42K is kind of where I do see price heading towards for US 30. And a lovely double top there. And the market's tried to form some higher lows on a couple of occasions, but it just hasn't played out well. And we're still being pretty consistent with these lower highs as well. So in my book, US 30 looks like it's still got downside. There's still a lot of momentum here. We broke to the downside on Tuesday with a lot of force, and this looks like the correction of that. So I'm just naturally expecting more downside to follow through. And of course, this is a big level of support. That's where I expect it to get to, and then we can judge whether price is going to break through that or turn around from there. But for US 30's case, I do still see more downside. For NAS 100, this one again kind of is looking like it's breaking through, but it's not a clean break. It's not a clean break at all. So you can see yesterday's candle there, even the day before that as well. Doji, big wick to the downside, then yesterday's candle more or less a doji as well, but closed with a big wick to the downside. So it's not really a clear breakout. It's not like we've seen a big candle just breaking through like this. And of course, that's a big statement there for NAS. But I mean, it could do on this candle perhaps, but we haven't had that yet. And for all we know, this could be another wick to the downside, and we close bullish by the end of today as well. So there's that side of the coin as well. So what I'm trying to get at for NAS is that it's not clear if we're really breaking through this level. I want clarity. I want either price that's showing me, okay, it's respecting the level very well. In that case, I'm looking for a lot more upside there for NAS. Or I want to see price really closing below, breaking through the wicks there. And that tells me, okay, things are looking pretty bearish or breaking support. At that point, I would be expecting pullbacks and more downside as well. So really my focus with NAS is that level. It's not quite clear just yet whether price is is going to respect or not. It's not looking particularly great from a 4-hour perspective. We've been printing a lot of consistent lower highs. So if this keeps up, perhaps we do get a continuation lower. But I would wait for the daily candles to make that judgment, because they will kind of encompass everything together pretty well. And we've got some news this afternoon for USD, so that will be kind of filtered in as well. So I'll wait for that daily candle to close and use that to kind of give my judgment. With S&P 500, it's kind of a similar situation as well. We're still kind of holding on to support. I said if this support breaks, then I'll be looking at a bearish S&P on the daily chart, and I would be expecting more downside from that point of view. Again, it's been a very lovely uptrend, but I wonder how we kind of hit our top a little bit. and maybe you're going to see a bit of a correction now. So it could be time for a bit of a move to the downside there for S&P. But at the same time, we are still respecting support pretty well. You see, 2 days ago, big wick to the downside. Yesterday closed bullish as well. Perhaps today we see another wick to the downside too. So in terms of a buy, I would wait to see if you can get a strong bullish engulfing candle. That would be nice for an entry because at least at that point, price is holding support. And you can have stop losses below the low, and then you got some room to work with. So there is a possibility for a bit of relief there for the indices. It's just I'm not quite sold yet. I need to see some bigger reactions or more confident reactions before I'm interested. And same thing with the breakouts as well. If this is going to be bearish, let's get some stronger breaks of support as well. Okay, where was that? Follow the trend, higher low on Euro pound. Okay, I'll have a look at that one as well. Ferragams, what's up? 1 hour candlestick with long wick, small body because of EU. Potentially. I mean, we still got about just under 2 hours before the news comes out, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure it's 12:15 for the Euro news. No, 1:15. Sorry. So we've got 3 hours. We've got 3 hours for the news. So yeah, price might be doing some back and forth between now and then. More so a bit close to the time, but yeah, we might be back and forth a little bit as price kind of gets ready for the news. I'll have a look in a second. Let me just go through Euro pound. No problem, Ben. We'll take a look at BTC as well because we still have some Trump effect gap. That is true. Still got some Trump gaps to cover. It's a new technical term then. Okay, so Euro GBP. So yeah, this one's been very, very bullish. Of course, Euro being exceptionally strong, pound not so much. That's given us a pretty big move to the upside. So I was looking for price just to kind of roll over this week, come back into the low and see some new lows. That was very much the plan I had for Euro pound. This move was not in my expectation. So now that we've had a push up, again, we're coming to an area where things are going to get a bit awkward because you can see the history of Euro pound, or the recent history, I should say. Price has been pretty consistent with all these lower highs. Every time we've had a big push up, the market has just formed a lower high and come back down. Likewise over there as well. It isn't kind of like a clear-cut trend line, but a rough kind of guide is kind of like this here, which encompasses most of the trend line, most of these tests. So as we kind of approach this kind of territory, that's an area where we do tend to form lower highs and come back down again. So I would be careful here for Euro pound. Sure, if we have a big breakout, of course, that is a big statement there for Euro pound, and perhaps we do have a big reversal on our hands. But we are coming to an area where lower high is a possibility. So I do like that outlook. Of course, right now we're still very impulsive, so I would like price to kind of slow down, sort of what we did over here, become a bit more corrective, and perhaps that could provide some nice entries to take Euro pound back down again. It's a very, very impulsive move, so I want price to kind of slow down. I don't want the speed to continue because that will kind of insinuate potentially a breakout, which of course, if you're looking to sell, that's not what you want to see. If we can slow down, maybe put a nice double top in, see some wicks, rejection, like we did over there, that could be a nice opportunity to short Euro pound and perhaps a nice swing back to the low as well. We've been very consistent in this bearish trend, and as long as we are going to continue that, then you would expect another lower high to form. So I do kind of agree with that expectation there. Okay, you said high low. Yeah, technically it's a high low as well, to be fair, but it's not a good one because it kind of just missed the low there by a little bit. So for that to be a high low for me, I need price to break through the high, because a high low is just something that potentially could happen, but it only is confirmed if we can take up the prior high. So yes, technically so far it is a high low because of course it's higher than that one. But if we just come back down and price just does this, then it just never was a high low to begin with. So we need to price to actually take out structure first for it to be confirmed as a high low. Then we can base that for analysis. And of course, if we're breaking through that at that point, I would be pretty bullish on euro pound. But yeah, it could be a high low, but that's what's going to confirm it for you. But for now, I'm still pretty bearish on euro pound until we break structure. Okay, so I'll go take a look at Euro USD, and then I'll go through Bitcoin as well. I'm waiting for a pullback before further downside as well. Okay. Yep. Looking at the same thing pretty much. Thought that would trigger Trump's ego and start tweeting some bullish. You're trying to anticipate Trump's Twitter. That is a dangerous game to play, Ben. Trying to anticipate Trump's Twitter. That is that's a real speculation. That is. Okay, so let me go through Euro USD. So yeah, with this one again, it's just basically what the DXY is doing, but flipped, to be honest. So all I'm looking for is a bit of a pullback and then some more upside. I've marked this zone here, 1.09, as a really nice area where we stalled for a little bit, heavy sell. I think this is yeah, that was the US election. I remember really big move to the downside. So I'm expecting price to come back into that territory again. A lot of selling pressure from that level, and it looks likely that we'll get into that area. Of course, first things first, I do want to see a pullback before buying. And as someone previously mentioned, we do have the ECB interest rate this afternoon, which we are expecting to see a cut in rate. So we should be seeing a weak bearish reaction for the euro. Of course, whether we stay bearish or not um, will depend on what's said and what the outlook is. But I'm expecting to see a bit of a retracement. The market is very overextended as well, so we're due a retracement. Just looking at the technicals, we've had kind of massive candle after massive candle here without really showing signs of slowing down, with a really big breakout at that level. So we're due a correction. I did say originally I was looking for the retest of this level here at 1.052, but I think I'm asking a little bit too much from the market there, a little bit too far down to see a pullback that big. So I'm kind of looking for us to pull back, create support, kind of confirm support, maybe with a double bottom, something like that. And perhaps we find support there to continue higher. But yeah, very, very bullish on euro. We're coming from a big level in the higher time frames as well. So I do think euro can actually probably make it back to highs here. But that's, of course, a story for another day. For now, that's just our next main level target. You said you're looking to short euro. Of course, I can understand the logic there. It's had a big push, so you're looking to try and fade the move, take advantage of the retracement. You can do that. I'm not really a fan of that position right now. I mean, I'm expecting it to retrace, but I'm just not looking to short that retracement. It's a little bit too bullish for me. And what's stopping euro potentially pushing a little bit higher as well. So I think it's always a bit of a tricky trade to try and take something as aggressive as that. I expect it to retrace, sure, but I'm more interested with the buys. I think that's where the bigger move is going to lie. Okay, so I will go through BTC next, and then we'll take a look at what's up, Neo Hippie. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Ethereum just on a retracement to 2464. Okay, I'll take a look at that as well. Sultani dollar yen. Yes, we'll take a look. No problem. Let me go take a look at BTC and Ethereum. So it's been a bit of an interesting one for these two currency pairs recently. A lot of up and down. Had that big drop last week, and then price suddenly became very bullish. And then we had another reaction this week, and looks like price is trying to push the upside. So far, I'm still pretty bearish on Bitcoin. Of course, long-term bullish, but for now, because of that big drop we had off the back of last week, and us still respecting this area, I'm still pretty bearish on Bitcoin. For me to become bullish, we either need to break through this zone, and then yes, I'll be bullish on some pullbacks back to the high and so on and so forth, or come back and retest some areas down here. This is where I originally said if we did break out from, if we broke out of the support level here, this is where I would anticipate some buyers coming back into the market around 73, 72K. And that would be a nice area to try and catch a bounce. Of course, we didn't quite get there. And price looks like it's respecting that area pretty well. So if Bitcoin is forming a higher low here, if this is a higher low for us to push on, then I want price to break through that zone, because this is where all the momentum came from. So if you break through that, that kind of negates all the bearish pressure we've had. And then that tells me, okay, the market's back bullish again, and we're likely to keep pushing. So yeah, we need to break through that zone for me to be looking to long. Of course, it doesn't necessarily maximize the risk reward, because at that point we might be a lot closer to the high, but at least it gives you a high probability trade of, okay, the sellers have kind of flopped a little bit, and at least now the buyers are firmly back in control. So the odds of us getting back to the high are pretty high. That's kind of the way I'm looking at the Bitcoin. If we don't see that happen and price just comes back into resistance again and starts to reject it, then yeah, we're probably going to come right back down for BTC. In terms of Ethereum, Ethereum is still actually testing a really nice area of confluence on like the weekly chart, I'll call it. So we do have this ascending trend line here connecting the higher lows, and we do have some lovely support taken from the left over there as well. So really nice reaction. As you can see, prices back there again, firing a lot of wicks into that same area. And of course, we do have this trend line with the first, second, third, and fourth test over here. So if we can respect this area of confluence, there is a possibility for a pretty big move to the upside for Ethereum. Likewise, if we break through, things get pretty ugly pretty fast, and we might see a lot more downside. Neo, you asked, do you think Ethereum is just on a retracement to 2464? Whereabouts is that? 2464. So that's around there-ish. So you're looking to see potentially a price is going to retrace there, perhaps for some more downside. That could be the case. That could be the case. Of course, we can see prices having a lot of trouble in this area here already. So that could be the case. It's definitely coming from a really big level of support. So I would expect to see some more upside. And the fact that we had a really big sell, but we only just about pinched the lows, didn't quite see a lot of energy to break through. Looks like we are probably going to push to the upside anyway. So I'm not too sure about the move in terms of another big sell, but in terms of us returning back to 2464, just 2500 in general, I do think there is a good chance we do make it back to that resistance and maybe break through as well, because we're coming back from a high time frame area of confluence, which could actually present a pretty big move to the upside there for Ethereum if we well and truly do hold. So yeah, I do think we'll probably do make that 2500 level. Would I look to sell it? Probably not, to be honest. Of course, if you're a bit more intraday, then yeah, you might catch a short-term position, but this is a really big area in the higher time frames where I would, if we do hold this successfully, could actually see a pretty big move there for Ethereum. So I'll be a bit careful of that. Okay, so I will take a look at USD JPY next. We'll go through some of the yen pairs. Yeah, we'll take a look at oil as well. Oil's had a really big sell as well. Yeah, I'll go through NASDAQ for you. No problem. Happy to help follow the trend. Happy to help. So let me go take a look at USD JPY, and then I'll go through oil and NASDAQ. So it looks like we're breaking through support here for USD JPY, which is something I want to see because I'm really bearish on this pair and expecting a push back to the lows here at 140.446. So I'm expecting a really, really big move here for USD JPY. But of course, first things first, we need to break through this area if we're really going to get that move, which looks like we're seeing that happen. Again, we've still got a lot of work to do, and by the end of the day, we could still be pushing to the upside. So a strong daily candle close below is something I'm really waiting for, which we haven't quite seen yet. So we'll see if we get that today potentially. But nonetheless, expecting more downside anyway. We've been forming pretty consistent lower highs here on the 4-hour chart. A lovely trend has appeared recently. So as you can see, very consistent lower lows, lower highs, and looks like I'll create another lower low right there as well. So I've been looking for a retracement back into the trend line. We just missed it over there, so I didn't get into a position for USD JPY. I think that was Tuesday or something. No, that was last week, Friday. So I didn't get into a position then for USD JPY, but perhaps if we do get a stronger move to the downside, well and truly break through support here on the left, hopefully that will give me an opportunity to short either on the retest of that same support level, or maybe if I'm lucky, we might even spike a little bit higher to tag the trend line. And from there, we get the big sell. Either which way, I'm only really interested in shorts here for dollar yen. Very bearish outlook on the higher time frames. The fact that we are breaking structure on the left as well means that the likeliness of seeing this move here is just very, very low. Of course, never say never. It could always happen. But again, as a trader, you've always got to deal with probability. Where's the likely move next? Where's the market likely to move next? And then that's the direction you want to be trading in. And to me, that looks like it is to the downside. So only looking at shorts, this is kind of what I'm interested in, or the retest of the level. Depends how price breaks out, how we pull back. You know, I'll explain that in a bit more detail once the setup is starting to form. But that's essentially what I'm looking at for dollar yen. And long-term targets back down at the low at 140. So very, very bearish for that one. In terms of oil. So oil, huge move to the downside. That has been so bearish. We've finally taken out the lows there as well. That's where I've been looking for oil to get to. We've had a lovely trend in the market. We had a lovely rejection not long ago. Really nice wick there piercing through. So I've been saying that I've been looking for oil to come back into support, and now we're there. We're back at square one again. Is price going to break support, or is it going to bounce again? I do not know. We've tested the support a few times. It's a very strong level of support. It's been holding since March 2023, so pretty much 2 years since it's March 2025 now. Time has flown by. So yeah, with price being back at support, this actually could be a nice place for a buy. And perhaps we do see another swing back into the trend line again, because eventually price is going to break out. This is a pattern which implies the market is squeezing, getting ready for a break, whether something like this or something like this is up to the market. I actually do expect it to be something like this, just looking at the higher time frames. If I go to the monthly chart, I'm actually expecting us to eventually see a push back down. We've tried to see continuation back to the high, hasn't worked too well. So I do actually see us kind of rolling over a little bit there for oil. But I'm not going to speak too much about that move until we actually get the break of support, because until we do, there's no real trade for that, really. But yeah, oil right now back at support. If anything, this is a good time to be looking to buy, to at least try and catch a reaction to the upside. So potentially if we can slow down, form some rejection, wicks, maybe a nice double bottom, that could present a nice buy maybe for a couple of days or so. Yeah, oil's been looking pretty bearish, but back at some major support again. So we well could bounce at this level. In terms of NASDAQ, so I mentioned this one. I'm kind of just waiting for a bit of clarity on the daily chart. Really, is price breaking through this support level, or are we still hanging on for dear life? Which, judging on yesterday's candle and the day before candle as well, we kind of are just about hanging on. Because again, when I want price to break out of a level, I want it to be clear. I want it to be confident. Sometimes we'll just about break a level and it's kind of like, did we break through? Maybe. And that's kind of what we got right now here for NAS. If we can get a solid daily candle closure below, something like that, taking out the wicks here as well. Okay, that makes things black and white. We've well and truly broken through that level. At that point, I'm expecting a lot more downside for NAS. If today's candle for some reason flips bullish and we see a strong close above the level like this, okay, price is holding on to support. At that point, I'm expecting us to continue higher, because all NAS has been doing really is just ranging back and forth. Is this the breakout of the range? It could be. I need a little bit more information if I'm going to look to follow that to the downside. So for NAS, do you want to see a bit more downside, something like this? I mean, so far I've been pretty bearish on the 4-hour chart. So shorts on the lower time frames do look good intraday. But from a swing perspective, need that confirmation, and then we can start looking for some pullbacks and some more downside. But yeah, I'm not quite. I don't quite have a setup just yet for NAS because I'm not too sure which way we're going. First thing first, I need a direction, and then I can start calculating some setups to trade. Not quite there yet for NAS for myself. Yeah, that's a rule of thumb there. Seasoned integrated. As long as you manage your risks, that's the most important thing. You could be so confident with a trade, but that trade could fail as well. So it's not a situation where, okay, I feel like this trade's going to work, so let me just bet the whole house on it. That is not what you want to be doing at all. Because even if you are very confident with a trade, sure, there may be a good chance it does play out, but there's also a chance it doesn't. So managing your risk will keep you in the game for the long run. And funny enough, you take some positions where you're thinking, I don't think this is going to play out, but it fits the plan. Still a good trade. I'm going to take it anyway, and it ends up playing out. And yeah, just goes to show you don't know exactly which trade's going to play, so manage the risk. Okay, it was a typo. Okay, lower high. Yeah, it's coming to a nice area for a lower high. So I like the shorts there for Euro pound. No problem, Neo Hippie. Happy to help. Happy to help. We've been testing this 66 level on oil since 2021. Let me go have a look because I just saw 2023 there. Maybe I wasn't looking hard enough. Okay, yeah, you're right. 2021 over here on the left. Even was acting as pretty strong resistance back in 2019 as well. So it's been a very pivotal level for oil. It's paid a lot of respect to it. So I would say there's a good chance we do bounce here. Again, whether we do something like this, that's a different question. But at least have a bounce, a couple of bullish days is a strong likelihood. So if you're looking to trade oil, of course you don't want to be looking to sell into this. Absolutely not. The only trade that would make sense here will be some buys. Of course, maybe from the lower time frame, you're looking for a quick move for like a couple of hours. Then, of course, you can get away with some shorts. But coming into such a big level on a daily chart, weekly chart, you don't really want to be selling to this. So even if it does break through, you can always look to sell on pullbacks afterwards. But yeah, I would be expecting a bit of a bounce there for oil. Is there some news which can trigger oil? Well, multiple news events can trigger oil. Even things that won't be scheduled on the economic calendar can trigger oil's price. MD, I want gold analysis. Okay, I will look at gold. No problem. I'm just going to say G. I was going to try and pronounce your name there, but I was like, I'm going to do such a bad job at it. So I was going to say no problem, G, because yeah, it's not great. Anyway, we'll have a look at gold, and I'll go through some of the yen pairs because I haven't gone through the rest of them. I had a look at GJ, dollar, yen. I'm gonna go through the rest of them. So as I mentioned with gold, it looks like gold could possibly forming a high here, a lower high here. We had a very impulsive move at the start of the week, and on Monday, I said, or Tuesday, we had this kind of bull flag pattern. So I said there's a good chance price is likely going to come back, retest that area, and then continue. And we did see that happen. However, we didn't break through the highs. I was looking for price to actually go and break through the highs and just continue back to the all-time high there for gold. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Price respected the high and came back down. So if gold is forming a lower high, if this is going to be a lower high in comparison to the high there from last week or the week before, then I want to see price break through this area because this is well and truly a strong level of support, demand. It depends how you want to look at it. But you can see price did consolidate there for a few days there on the 4-hour time frame. Or not a few days, sorry. A few hours to the hourly chart. A few hours before I had a really strong move to the upside. So there's a lot of buying pressure from this area. So if we were to break through that would be a big sign that says, okay, the sellers are well and truly in control of the market and we're likely to continue falling. And that would, I would expect that to then be the top or the next low high in the market there. And targets back at the low would make a load of sense. So with gold, if I'm looking to short this one, I do want to see us break through 28.85, that kind of area there, and then look for some shorts off the back of that, and targets back at the low make a load of sense. So that's the kind of setup I'm looking there for gold shorts. For longs, you could still be looking to buy off that, but the fact that we fell at the highs doesn't give me a load of confidence for the longs anymore. If anything, I would wait to see if we can break through the highs there again. Then you can probably scale right down to the 15-minute chart for the next pullback and ride that wave back to the highs. Because I was expecting, okay, we've had a big push there for gold. Now it's going to correct and now just continue and so on and so forth. But we failed at the highs there. So it's a sign that says, okay, buyers hitting a bit of a brick wall and not quite seeing enough energy to continue the trend. So if we do see a break of that, okay, that implies that the buyers are strong again. Sellers are backing away, and we probably are at that point just going to push back to the highs. So this could look like a nice trade, maybe in a day or two, or maybe next week at this point, because it's coming to the end of the week. Not the biggest fan of the buyers here anymore because we failed at the highs there, as I said. But if we are going to sell, then something like that will look good. So that's kind of where I'm at with the sells and buys there for gold. I don't really have a swing set up on the 4-hour chart. I've been looking at a retest of the high here on the left. As you can see, we didn't quite make that come back to retest that there. So no opportunity there for gold. Hope gold gets a deeper pullback. What in terms of buys or sells? I mean, there's still a possibility that we do come back to retest this area if that's what you're hinting at, and that's kind of still what I'm looking to see if gold can do. And then hopefully some buys like that could come through. Might not be specifically on the retest, but that's kind of the area which I'm looking for buys for gold. Kind of the correction of this move and so on and so forth. We've got 3K just above us. Still think there's a good chance that gold does get to 3K and potentially beyond as well. Anyway, I'm going to go through some of the yen pairs. So we had a look at pound yen earlier. I basically said that I don't really like pound yen. To be honest, on the 4-hour chart, lower time frames, there might be a nice buy there to keep an eye on around 190. Essentially, I'm looking for another one of these major highs here. 1, 2, looking for potentially a third one for price to push into and then potentially sell off again back into support. That's really what I'm kind of banking on now for pound yen. In terms of the higher time frames, I know exactly what I'm looking for, which is that big kind of sell, the continuation of that drop in July for the push there. So that's still been the play for a while now, but that's still the direction I'm looking to trade in. But I can see clearly the market's become very flat now. So I don't want to be looking for sells in this area because we're not really seeing much momentum. And at this point, probably have a stronger chance of pushing to the upside rather than back down again. So pound yen backing away. Euro yen, I'm keeping a close eye on this one. It's kind of a similar situation to pound yen in terms of, okay, I'm expecting price to take out the wick low here. Overall, the market is pretty sideways, but I am looking at this as a really big head and shoulder pattern. So you got your left head and your right shoulder. Of course, this being your neckline, expecting that to break pretty soonish. We've got these major highs on the left. 1, 2. I'm looking at third one. A bit more upside than the sell. Something like that could look really good in a couple of days or so. And a nice short back into support where we get the breakthrough. So with the Euro yen, very bearish as well. But of course, the past couple of days have been very bullish for Euro yen. We had a lovely breakout. Didn't really see a retest of that. It kind of came in a little bit deeper. That would be a nice place for a retest. Now it looks like we'll come back into high where we found a bit of resistance, but I want to see us kind of push a little bit higher before I do get into a short. Something over there. And then targets back where we came from, 154-ish. And that risk reward itself back into the low could be a really nice trade. and I can always leave some positions to run as well if I'm expecting price to go further, which I am. So Euro yen is kind of what I'm waiting on as well. If we take a look at CAD yen, another one which is kind of giving us a big head and shoulder pattern on the higher time frame. So this is the daily chart. You've got your lovely left shoulder over there. You got your head over there, and of course you got your right shoulder. This would be your neckline of the pattern, and it looks like price is breaking through that. So again, expecting us to take out this wick low, which we're very, very close to doing. I wonder if CAD yen's going to keep falling. CAD has just been so weak over the past few weeks. Well, not a few weeks. It has been pretty weak over the past few weeks, but especially the past week, I would say it's been exceptionally weak, and that's just been keeping CAD yen pretty bearish. You can see pound yen's been pretty flat, euro yen's pushed up, but CAD hasn't seen any of that. It's just still falling. So yeah, with CAD yen, I've looked at a slightly deeper correction for this one, but I'm not too sure if we'll see that. Again, this is still being very much the plan. So something like that, another lower high and another drop. Something like that has been the plan there for CAD yen. But will we see that pullback? I have no idea. Again, a lot of trading just waiting for your setups to happen. Sometimes you have an opportunity which you're waiting for, and price just never gets to it, and the trade never comes around. And other times, you kind of look at a setup which you think, okay, maybe price is not going to get there, and it actually does get there and gives you a trade. So you want to make sure that you're always paying attention, because some trades will set up, some won't. Not to know which ones will and which ones won't. So always kind of want to pay equal respect to your opportunities. But yeah, CAD yen as well, something like that is what I'm keeping a close eye on as well. Shorts around 106. In terms of Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, I was debating an entry, but I didn't really like the way price formed the high. I want to see if price can come up again and respect it again before shorting. I'm looking to see if we can respect this area, form another lower high, and get that drop into the wick low, which is down here, which we only just missed early in the week. I'm looking to see if we can push a little bit higher, manipulate that high, and then get the drop. This is essentially what I'm looking at there for New Zealand yen. So I'm keeping a close eye on this one. I'm still very short. As long as we don't break through this area of confluence, that keeps me bearish. If we do something like this suddenly, then of course that confluence is lost. We probably still will get that sell, but just not the way I'm expecting it to happen. But yeah, so far still respecting that area. Look and see if we can push up one more time before entering. But yeah, the expectation is a push back to 83 and some new lows past that point. Aussie yen in a very similar boat as well. We've got this lovely bearish structure. Looking to see if we can have a slightly deeper correction. I like the support level over there. Again, want price to kind of push up a little bit higher, test that area, and then perhaps get the sell and target the wick close here as well. So it's still pretty bearish on both of them, Aussie yen, New Zealand yen. But just waiting for the right time to actually take some entries and not trying to jump the gun too soon there. Himanshu, I think pound Aussie and pound NZ are reversing towards the downside. I haven't actually looked at them, so I will go and have a look at those currency pairs. Hassan, what do you think about oil? Yeah, oil is at massive support. It looks like we're probably going to get a bit of a bounce there, at least temporarily. I'm not so much bullish on oil long term. Well, it depends how long term. I'll go through it in a moment. Well, and JPY will hike their rates. I'm actually not too sure. Do we have yen interest rates next week? It might be next week. Actually, I don't think it is next week. No, it's not next week. Might be the week after. I'm not sure when it is, to be honest. Might be the week after next. Okay, so let me go through pound Aussie, pound NZD for Himanshu. Then I'll go take a look at oil. So, of course, pound NZD and pound Aussie have been very, very, very bullish. And of course, we've seen some humongous moves to the upside. And yes, they have seen some retracement now. Again, especially with pound Aussie, pound NZD, because these have made some big moves to some fresh highs. So pullback is expectation now. You know, these markets don't be bullish forever, especially when they're moving very correctively like this. You do expect to see corrections and pullbacks, especially after we sweep previous swing highs as well. So that's exactly kind of what pound NZD is seeing right now. I'm still focused on the longs, but of course I want to see a much deeper correction before looking to buy. For pound NZD, I mentioned this area here as a really nice place for a buy, 2.22. Really nice area of confluence, really solid level of resistance, and haven't seen a retest when we had that breakout. So price is kind enough to pull back into that zone. I think that would be a great place for a long, and expectations will be a push back to the high. We've been so consistent with all these high lows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8 there. So we've got a great consistency with the higher lows. So the odds of us seeing another higher low, is pretty high. It's going to take a lot for us to go and break structure. So pound NZD, yes, we have seen some downside. It depends what you're looking for. They are reversing to the downside, but I wouldn't be looking to jump into some shorts now because we've already seen a bit of downside as well. You've got to be careful because although we could have a bigger correction like I'm looking for, we could easily still pick up the pace and pick up the momentum. Market is still trending to the upside, so you have to show respect to that trend there. You don't want to get caught on the wrong side of that. So I would be, if I'm looking to short, I would wait for price to push back to the high, perhaps maybe put a bit of a double top there. So at least I can put my stop loss at a relatively safe space and still maximize my risk to reward. I wouldn't want to be looking to enter now. I've already seen a bit of a move. And the market looks like it's coming back into support there as well for pound NZD. In terms of pound Aussie as well, this one too is taking out some major highs there. So again, naturally expecting a bit of a pullback. We actually got some major resistance on the left here, which price is starting to come into. This is actually from COVID in 2020. We're coming back into those prices at the moment. So again, with pound Aussie, I like the idea for a correction. Something like this would look nice. Originally, I was looking more at this area, but I'm not too sure we'll get a pullback that big. Something like this will look good as well. And again, keeping it relatively simple, back to the high, perhaps we can go further as well. But the fact that we have taken out that high there, I do expect to see some downside, but now is not the best time to be looking to jump into any sells. Reason being, the markets already had a bit of a relief. So if anything, we might see a continuation now. So price can push back to the high, start to reject it, then yes, that could be a nice trade, base stop loss above the high, and perhaps you do capitalize on a nice move. But jumping in now, the only safe place for a stop loss would be above the high. And that kind of gives your risk to reward to be a little bit skewed, especially when you go and count the trend. That might not be particularly great. So yes, it does look like price is going to run out of juice there for both pound NZD, pound Aussie. I do expect them to see a lot more downside because, of course, they're quite overextended. They're taking up major highs. But I don't think now's the best time to enter. Maybe if you can come back, respect the high again, then you've got a much better place for a stop loss. And you can maximize your risk to reward as well. So two birds, one stone. In terms of oil, as I mentioned previously with this one, we're at major support. So I do think we can have a bit of a bounce here. Market's been pretty consistent with all these lower highs, once, twice, a third time, and a fourth. And now we're coming back into really strong support, which I do think we can at least have a reaction from maybe for a couple of days. Not necessarily expecting a swing back to the trend line, although that could be the situation. We might continue to mess around before price makes up its mind in terms of the direction. But at least a reaction like this looks something worth tradable. and something you can have a good expectation of happening. Possibly a push back into this area here. I'd probably keep an eye on some resistance here on the left as well. That could be a nice target, taking that across around 71. But something like this, you got a decent expectation that the market can see a move like that. You're not asking too much. Seeing previous reactions, we have had some really big moves from this level. So something like that looks pretty likely. So yeah, oil, my expectation with oil is it's at really big level of support and it's likely to have a bit of relief, especially with such a hard sell the past 2-3 days. We've seen a lot of momentum there too. So it does look like it's due a retracement. But yeah, that's kind of how I'll take it. The market stretched, due a retracement, hits a big level. It's likely to see some upside. So that's kind of how I would take oil for now. And hopefully that does happen because CAD's been so weak. I need a reason for some CAD strength because of course I'm shorting dollar CAD, so some dollar strength would definitely help out my position. Anyway, in terms of some of the C share pairs, because I'm gonna go through some of the C share pairs because they've had some really big moves as well. I think I still need to go through Swiss yen and the yen basket because I didn't finish them off in terms of the yen pairs. Then I'll go through some of the Swiss pairs, some of the CAD pairs as well, because they've had some of the bigger moves, and USD as well in the past few days. Swiss pairs, really big moves. CAD pairs, exceptional moves, especially on pound CAD and euro CAD. Really big moves there, especially euro CAD. But again, Swiss yen, again, another big head and shoulder, similar to what we looked at for euro yen and for CAD yen. Big head and shoulder patterns here. Got your left shoulder over there, you got your head, and you got your right shoulder. Of course, that being a neckline. So this has been the pattern. This has been the focus I've had for a while now with Swiss yen, and my expectation is a break of support pretty soonish and a big move to the downside. The way I'm looking to take this or to tackle this is waiting for a push to the upside first. Perhaps we get another lower high that forms like we did over there, like we did over there. Perhaps we get another one. Or maybe we break to the downside and then price gives us a bit of a pullback and we short probably on the retest of the zone here. Either which way, those are both nice opportunities and they both kind of take advantage of the same move. You just up here, you got a bit better of entry and you can short it back into support. Of course, this one, still a great entry as well, but a little bit lower down, but perhaps you already see some momentum, so it might be a bit of a smoother trade. But that's kind of what I'm looking at for Swiss yen, because of course I'm very bearish, but I don't want to be looking to short directly into support. That is not what I want to be doing, especially when the market is extremely flat and having such a tough time trying to break through support. So kind of hoping we retrace a little bit, or we can actually short and or we can break through and then I can actually short it. But at the moment, not much there to report on for Swiss yen. And then in terms of the yen basket, so this is what I keep an eye on because it does kind of paint the picture for the yen pairs pretty well. So again, long term, looking for the wick high there to be taken out for the yen basket. Overall, the market's trading in resistance here, or at least coming into resistance now. But I do expect us to actually break through that resistance and go and take out the high on the left. So that is still very much my thinking, my thought process with the yen basket. I was looking for a little bit of a deeper of a correction here for the yen. I was looking for us to come back close to the trend line and then perhaps use that to continue our path. Looks like we're kind of forming some support here and having some fun there. But if we do decide to push a little bit deeper, that is great. And perhaps that could actually give me some entries on Aussie yen and potentially New Zealand yen as well, maybe dollar yen too. But in terms of the direction, expectations, that wick high, I'm expecting it to go. Because again, what I'm looking at is a big impulse there. Looking at this as the correction of that. I'm expecting price to continue its original path. So that's where I'm at with the yen basket. So still very much looking for a lot more yen strength. Yes, very much important data on Friday for USD CAD because of course we do have We do have NFP on Friday, which of course is going to be a very important day for USD in general. I think with the momentum we've already seen already, the direction for USD has been very much set in stone for myself for now, unless something crazy does happen, which it could do off NFP. But I'm still very bearish. Even if USD becomes quite bullish tomorrow, I'm still looking to short that right back down again, as long as nothing changes from a technical aspect, which will be very difficult to do so. Because if I go to the dollar quickly, for it to kind of change from a technical aspect would be either a very, very aggressive retracement, something that's as impulsive as this, pushing up about that distance. That would make me question my bias. Or if you do have a slower push, it needs to eventually go and take out the high there. That would then make me question my bias, because that would be like a big V-shaped reversal. And then I'll be looking at something like this and more upside. So that's the only way I would retract that bearish bias for dollar. If it's like a big move like this, that's great. I'm just looking at that as a retracement. Hopefully even to retest that level, that'd be great. And of course, if we keep pushing, then I'm still looking for that pullback at some stage for a sell. So of course, nothing is set in stone, nothing's guaranteed, but there's a high chance that we do see more downside for dollar unless something crazy bullish happens on NFP, which is a possibility, but we'll see. Again, a big part about trading is not necessarily just having an expectation of the market always being right. It's actually the opposite. It's about being able to be flexible and change your bias when needed. Right now, I'm very bearish, and if things change, I can be very bullish pretty quickly as well if I need to be. Yeah, so this afternoon we've got the ECB interest rate decision at 1:15. I'm not trading any euro pairs, so I'm not really too bothered about that, but I am looking to trade euro USD, so I kind of want to see a bit of weakness there. And then of course we've got jobless claims this afternoon as well at 1:30. That will be interesting to see what happens. I'm shorting dollar CAD, so that will of course affect my position. We've got CAD PMI as well, and you keep a close eye on that. And then tomorrow, CAD unemployment rate, so that will be interesting. And the employment rate is expected to go up for CAD, so that's not a good thing for me. But we'll see what happens. And of course, we've got NFP at 1:30 as well. So we'll see how that affects my position. But still very bearish on dollar CAD and USD for now. Afonso, what is up? Okay, you got an entry for Aussie yen in earlier rather than wait for momentum at entry 93.31. JPY was very strong and weak. Okay, fair enough. Again, the thing about entering to trades earlier is that you should always be prepared for that second entry, just in case you do get stopped out of the first. What some people do is they enter a little bit earlier, get stopped out, and then that just puts them off the trade completely. And then a setup could come around later, maybe even the setup they were waiting for, which they then don't take the trade because maybe they're now just doubting their analysis. Then it plays out. So if you're going to enter trades a little bit earlier, always be prepared for that second entry. But yeah, Aussie yen, I'm still pretty bearish on this one. I'm looking for more downside, but I do want to see a pullback into that level around 95.7. So your entry is 93.75. So that's around there. Stop loss 94.4. Yeah, 94.4. So that's about there-ish. And your TP is 92.2, which is around there. So yeah, we did have that momentum step in this morning. A lot of the yen pairs were heading to the downside pretty aggressively. So It's a nice reaction. I'm not like I said, I'm looking for price to come a lot deeper before shorting. But it's a nice initial reaction. I think this is going to be a very important support level for the trade because we had such an impulsive reaction to the upside, and then we just broke through some structure. So that is what would worry me in terms of, okay, we've had a break of structure. Perhaps are we forming a higher low now to potentially continue higher? That's kind of what would worry me about the trade. Of course, there will be situations where we do break structure just to kind of continue, and we break structure back to the downside again as well. Um, but that's kind of what you're anticipating there. Potentially a bit of a fake out for us to continue the path to the low there. So this would be an interesting point because if we are going to form a higher low, it's kind of where I'd expect it to fall if we are going to have that deeper correction there. But yeah, a lot of momentum did step in. Um, and I think a big part of the trade is that momentum kind of continuing. If we do start to kind of consolidate and become a bit sideways, well, then the initial momentum that kind of got you into the trade is kind of gone. So at that point, you might want to, not necessarily close the trade early, but be prepared to close the trade early because, like you said, initially you got into the trade because JPY was very strong and Aussie was weak. Well, if that's no longer the situation, then the idea of the trade is no longer there because that's the reason why you got in early because of that momentum. So if that starts to run out, maybe rejection to the downside starts to slowly push back up, could probably take that as an early sign to exit the trade. And if you do have a slightly deeper correction, you can always look to re-enter later on. So I'll keep an eye on that. Trade looking at the daily. Yeah, I mean the daily's still very bearish as well. So again, my outlook on Aussie yen is based on the daily chart as well. Of course, my entries can be based on the 4-hour chart, but I am still under the expectation that I'm looking for a swing back to 90 and price to go a lot further as well. So I do have the same bias. But yeah, I think if we can see the momentum continue, then probably likely get to your target and probably go beyond that as well. But if you do start to kind of pull back a little bit and that initial kind of momentum does dissipate, then, like I said, we might have that bigger correction. So keep an eye on that. 95.5 is where you're looking to sell. Yeah, more or less the same area as me then. 95.5 is pretty much there as well. So that's kind of why I'm looking to short as well. Coming back into nice support, potentially retest the trend line as well. And if price was to break through that, that would make me question my analysis there for Aussie yen, at least in the short term. And especially I like it when my entries and when my setups are in areas where if price was to break through that, it would make me question my bias. Because if I have a bias of expecting price to go and hit a certain target, but if I take a trade and it failing doesn't necessarily put an end to that bias, that means I can always re-enter, potentially capitalize on that trade. But if I get into a trade where I'm my back's right up against the wall in terms of I'm still expecting price to go and hit a certain target, but if we were to break through this area, that would make me rethink my bias. If I get an entry there, that means number one, I maximize my risk to reward. And number two, I'm just at an area where it's kind of make or break. So if it does stop me out, in fairness, I'm probably changing my bias after that and looking for something else. But if it does play out, I'm kind of in an area where now I can really look to hold that trade and really push it. And it stops me taking potentially 2 or 3 losses for the same idea as well. Okay, so let me go through the CHF pairs and go through the CAD pairs because there have been some heavy hitters. So like I said, on CHF, I'm still just about in this trade. We'll see how long that does remain true. I did hop into the trade over there on the 13th or no, the 12th, sorry, the 12th of February. I've already taken 80% of my profit at the low, so I only have a very small position. Again, the original target for the trade was back here. So the trade is pretty much done, but one of my main focuses this year is to really try and maximize my winners. And that basically just means letting some positions to run if they have the potential to do so, if it makes sense. Aussie CHF is a long-standing bearish trend, so the odds of us continuing to the low are pretty high at any given stage, really. So this is the type of trade where I do want to kind of leave positions to run and see if they can do the extra mile and can go and hit that low there. But Aussie CHF has a lot of negative swaps, and it does take its time sometimes. So I wasn't going to look to do the full swing with the full position. So I've taken most of the profit there and leaving the rest to trail. My trail stop loss was positioned above the high, so I was very, very close to getting trailed out. Looks like we had a big reaction. Again, price has still got a lot of work to do if we are going to continue back down, because looking at the daily chart, we've had a really big bullish engulfing candle at that support level. So it's going to take a lot of force for us to break through this and be back on our way there. But we'll see what happens for CHF. If I look at some of the other CHF pairs, for example, Euro CHF has been so bullish. Of course, CHF has been pretty weak, but Euro has been pretty strong as well. So that has given us a huge run there to the upside. Again, with Euro CHF, long term, still a very bearish market, but perhaps we might see a slightly bigger pullback with Euro CHF. I'm looking at this kind of channel here as I connect the highs and the lows. Perhaps we might see a slightly bigger retracement to come and test the end of the channel before a big swing. So I wonder if that's the case there for Euro CHF. CAD CHF has been sideways. It looked like price was breaking to the downside, but then, of course, the move yesterday kind of pushed us back in. But I wonder if CAD weakness will kind of break us back to the downside again. So you can see price was looking exceptionally bearish at one point. We pulled back up, closed above. Now we're looking a little bit bearish again. Of course, it's an open candle on the daily chart, so a lot can happen. So I don't want to kind of take in too much information from this current daily candle, even though it's looking pretty bearish, because it could flip bullish by the end of the day. So don't want to base judgment on false information there, or at least information that isn't exactly defined yet. But yeah, if we were to break through support, then of course this would be the next major target for the low. I'm pretty sure this is the all-time low for CAD CHF. So yeah, again, that's the thing with the CHF pairs, they're all heading to the downside. So in terms of a swing bias, most of the time I'm just looking to short the CHF pairs, really. There will be some times for nice longs as well, but once the trend is flowing, you just kind of want to keep shorting, to be honest, which is another reason why I was shorting Aussie CHF as well. But yeah, it looks like we're trying to break through support. If we can do that with a bit more clarity, a nice close below, then yeah, we probably will see price keep falling. Pound CHF, this one's been just very, very awkward. Big push to the upside yesterday, closing. Looks like we're kind of breaking out the channel now. It's been a very awkward one for Pound CHF, but looks like we're finally kind of breaking out of that. Is this going to be potentially moved to the upside now for Pound? It could be. Perhaps we push back into the high over there. I've always been looking for a big sell here for Pound CHF, but it hasn't really formed how I wanted it to. So I've stayed away, and potentially with this break now, perhaps we keep pushing. But not really a pair I'm interested in, to be honest. And New Zealand CHF, this one as well, expecting a push back into the swing low here. It's been very steady on the move to the downside, but still keeping up with the lower lows and lower highs. Yeah, the retracement hasn't been great. If this was like a slow corrective retracement, could be looking for the next lower high for the next short. But because it was so impulsive, that doesn't really look good. You need to slow down, be a bit more corrective. Then maybe you can catch the next lower high afterwards. Something like this could look good, but we need a lot of development there. So mostly speaking, pretty bearish on the CHF pairs, but some a little bit awkward. And some are actually pretty bullish on, like Euro CHF. That looks like we could actually break to the upside. And of course, dollar CHF, I forgot about this one. USD CHF, I'm very bearish on. That's not necessarily because of Swiss strength, but USD weakness. Of course, it takes two to tango there. So both of them will kind of provide that bias for me. But you can see we've rejected major resistance once, twice, and a third time. And we've got major support down here as well. And it looks like we potentially could be seeing another swing back to the low. That's what the trend has been doing. Well, not really trend, that's what the range has been doing. And if that continues, then we've probably got to push back down into support there. So I actually missed an opportunity this week. Well, didn't miss an opportunity because it didn't really set up, but it came pretty close for me to get an entry. I was looking between dollar CHF and dollar CAD. I was looking for entries here for dollar CHF, didn't quite set up, but then dollar CAD did, so I took that trade instead. But anyway, I didn't even get my entry. But yeah, dollar CHF, I'm still pretty bearish on as well, and expecting more of the same. Afonso would like to make a pullback, but CHF JPY safe haven currency due to global situation. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a good point. There was that initial reaction, that momentum, and of course, if that does keep up, then I would expect your trade to play out. Again, the situation where you're looking for bigger pullbacks, there'll be times where you don't see bigger pullbacks happen, and then price just kind of continues in your expected direction. I'm potentially going to be looking at a similar situation on the dollar right now. We've had such a big move to the downside. I'm wanting to see a bigger pullback. Preferably, this would be my area to short from, but I don't think we'll see a pullback that big before continuing. So it might mean I miss out on the move. But there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong really with trading. It's only, are you taking a good trade? That's the only right or wrong there is really. Because there'll be times where you wait for the bigger pullback and you get the bigger pullback and you get the trade and life's great. And there'll be times you'll be waiting for the bigger pullback, it never happens. Price moves halfway, maybe tests a minor level and then continues. So you're kind of sitting with your hands in your pockets and the market's selling off in the direction you expected, doing what you expected it to do, maybe hit your targets as well, but you're not there in the trade to take advantage of it. And yeah, if you're looking for bigger pullbacks, that will be a situation. But again, that's completely fine because as long as you get enough trades within a year to hit the targets you want to hit, as long as you're taking good positions, then that's the important thing. There will be many moves you miss, and that's just the reality of trading. And you don't want to let those positions as well trigger fear of missing out, because a lot of people do get caught in that. If you're waiting for price to get to an area, then you get that fear of missing out and then you just jump into a trade you weren't supposed to take and you take unnecessary losses. Well, then that's where you get an issue. But yeah, DXY, I might be in a similar boat there if we only get a shallow pullback. But still bearish on that one, so I'm going to wait and see. In terms of the CAD pairs, as we've been mentioning, CAD has been exceptionally weak. So we've been seeing really big moves for the CAD pairs. If I go take a look at Euro CAD, you can see for this one, it's been absolutely loving life, and it still is. Look at this for a move, huge move to the upside. And it's funny because I've been a big hater for EuroCAD for a while, just because it's been such a flat pair. I haven't really been looking. I can't remember the last time I took a trade in EuroCAD, just because conditions haven't been optimal. So I'm not going to waste my time on a market which isn't giving me the setups I want to see or giving me the conditions I want to see. So I haven't been a big fan of EuroCAD. I can't remember the last time I traded it, but now we've seen a massive breakout like that. It does look very interesting because although we're seeing a lot of momentum, we are coming to an area where it's a bit awkward because we have been putting major lower highs here once, twice. Let me just use the circular tool because I can't draw circles at all. So you can see the lower highs price has been putting. And potentially we're coming to an area where another lower high could form. So although we've been seeing a lot of momentum, I kind of would be a bit skeptical here. But if we were to retrace back to this area, that would by default be a nice place for a buy. Whether we kind of push up to come down eventually, we don't know. Or is it a push to keep going? We don't know. But in terms of a solid setup, at least following momentum and with a slight trend now, that becomes a nice area for a buy. So if EuroCAD would be kind enough to retrace, that would be a nice setup to take. If I drop back to the 4-hour chart, kind of refine this a little bit better. So this area here, that's what all the price has been testing. Once, it's twice, a third time, fourth time, fifth, and then we've got the breakout. So a retracement like this would look really good for EuroCAD. The market is still extremely bullish right now, so still have to be very, very patient for that. But that would look like a nice trade. And again, keep things relatively simple. Back to the high, call it a day there. And of course, you've got pound CAD in a similar situation too. Really big move to the upside. This one's just recently broken through major resistance as well. So as you can see over here, major resistance as I take that across, big breakout for that one. I think this one's breaking through some major weekly resistance as well on the left here too. If I box this off and drag that across, yeah, it looks like price is trying to break through that. I know the week hasn't closed yet. We've still got 1 day and 11 hours, so we very much could still pull back and leave a big wick there. So not gonna read too much into that before we've got the completed information. But it is safe to say things are looking pretty bullish. So again, left behind a really nice level for a buy. Solid resistance previously, held the market for a while. Now we've completely broken through. That would be a place I would expect to see at least a bounce there for pound CAD. It may not give us a full continuation. It might be more of a reaction, and then maybe we go and break through. But there's a good chance we do bounce there since price has really paid a lot of attention to this area. So if you can see some rejection, there's a good chance we'll probably see a reaction to that. So yeah, pound CAD does have my interest, but again, still looking very bullish as we keep pushing higher there. So we need that CAD strength there for us to actually have that retracement. In terms of Aussie CAD, this one as well has been pretty bullish, pushing to the upside. I wonder, is this another high low for Aussie CAD? We've had one over there, second, third. Is this a fourth? If you do have a strong break to the upside, I would probably look at it like that and then look at this for a buy. Oh, let me draw that with a trend line. Something like that could interest me. But overall, it's a very choppy pair. I'm not a big fan of Aussie CAD. You can see how it moves. It's generally very corrective. So it has to be very, very clean for me to be interested in taking a trade for Aussie CAD. New Zealand CAD as well. I've been pretty bearish on these currencies, New Zealand CAD and Aussie CAD, looking for us to return back into support. We just kind of missed those areas. Now we're having a bit of a push to the upside. So it's a bit of an awkward one. To be honest, New Zealand CAD's still an area where shorts do look good if we can respect the high. Of course, I haven't really seen price done that yet. That could still be a nice short. I think keep it relatively short and sweet just because CAD being so weak, you might not see that full swing there. But I think that's still a nice place for a short, especially if we can get a nice wick rejection, bearish engulfing candle. That would be a nice place to short it back down. Then in terms of the crosses, we saw pound Aussie, pound NZD. They were very, very bullish. Euro Aussie, of course, and Euro NZD very, very bullish too. Actually, more bullish than pound Aussie and pound NZD because, of course, Euro has been a lot stronger. I marked this level here as the target for the week. I wasn't expecting us to hit that already. Price has just been so bullish here for Euro Aussie. We do have the wick high there. Perhaps if price does break through 1.7, which is that level, that's probably where we're headed to next. If I take a look at Euro entity, which again has been very bullish, we've absolutely obliterated that wick high there, and we've been looking very, very bullish since then as well. So with UNSD looking for correction, we do have a major resistance there at 1.85. That actually looks like a nice place for a long for me. If I could see a nice healthy correction back down there, that would be a place where I would expect to buy from. If you can have a slow correction, see some rejection at that level, essentially looking for the next higher low. There's probably some nice trendline confluence here too as well. Actually, maybe not. Might have to have a very deep test, actually test the trend line. But overall, the market is still looking really bullish. But being careful because I know we're at some areas where price could turn around. You can see here, massive rejection there. I think that was actually COVID. Yes, it was COVID, March 2020. And if I was to draw a box around there from the wick to the body, you can see we're just about coming into that area. So from the wick to the body, taking that across, coming into that area. Of course, this is a very broad area, and you're not necessarily looking to short this with a stop loss above the high there. But at least you can take into account, okay, we're approaching higher time frame resistance. So a bigger pullback is to be expected in the next coming days, coming weeks. which, again, if you're looking for some counter trend sells, could develop into a nice opportunity for you. I'm still very focused with the buy, so it means that I probably will get my deeper correction I'm looking for. Just have to stay patient and see if I can find some entries there for Euro NZD. But in terms of the pairs I'm looking to trade for, well, for the rest of the week, but more so next week as well. I'm still very much bearish on USD, so any opportunities I can find in USD, I'm still going to be very, very interested there. Of course, I'm still shorting USD CAD, but I don't mind hopping to another USD pair if it does look good. USD CAD just being a bit of a tougher ride because of CAD weakness. In a bit of profit at the moment, so can't complain. But of course, I'm not going to do anything into the trade. All this is floating profit, floating loss. It's not realized until I do exit the trade. My target is very much still there. I'm not really looking to go break even on this one. It's not big of a trade to do that. 2.03 is the risk reward. Stop loss above the high. Initially, almost became very, very close to my stop loss. Actually, I entered the trade on Tuesday just before my stream, and then price shot to the upside. I think we had some. I don't think we had CAD news at the time, but CAD was just very, very strong. Very, very weak, sorry. So we had a big push up, and then we had CAD news in the afternoon, and that helped the trade come back into profit there. But very, very close to stop loss. Both trades that I've taken recently have been very close to stop loss before reverting into profit. Aussie CHF, you can see, entered the trade there, 12th of Feb, and you can see came very, very close to my stop loss before reversing in my favor. Of course, in an ideal world, could have entered a little bit later to maximize the risk reward, but you're not to know that when you get into a trade. And that's why you have your stop losses there for a reason, which is why I don't want to exit trades early. Some people like exiting their trades as they go into drawdown, which again could be a profitable take on how you trade the market. If you back test it and it makes sense, then of course go and do that. But when I do put a stop loss for my trade, it's there for a reason. It's to invalidate or validate my trade. As long as price is not breaking to the upside, then the trade idea is still valid. We're still respecting that trend line, those lower highs, we're still respecting resistance. So I still want to stay in the position. Of course, it's very uncomfortable, but that's trading for you. Same thing with dollar CAD there as well. It came very, very close to taking me out the trade, but we did see some nice reaction to the downside. So looking to see if we can get more of the same. There are some low time frame support here. Looking to see maybe if we can go and retest before continuing. But the main thing I'm watching, to be honest, is really just what CAD's going to do. Because the funny thing is, dollar CAD's had a slight move to the downside, but every other USD pair has absolutely flown. Euro USD pounds all seeing a lot of momentum. Of course, dollars dropped so hard, and you expect dollar CAD to make a similar move. And it just goes to show you how weak CAD's been too. So as soon as CAD becomes a little bit strong, that probably would really just help my trade out so much. Like I said, we got some CAD news. We got minor CAD news today, but we got unemployment rate on Friday. So that's really why I want to keep an eye out for CAD to see if that can go in my favor, but I don't think it will. Rates are expected to go up, but we'll see. Anyway, in terms of other USD pairs, which I do like I said, Euro USD looks good. I just don't think I'll get the setup there. So I want to stay on my toes a little bit. We might get a setup where price pulls back, create some support, and then we use that to our advantage to push up. Pound USD, I actually like a little bit more than Euro, just because of how the structures looked, and the pullback looks pretty likely to form for the retest of this level. Again, we've got really nice higher highs and higher lows. Market's been very consistent. We've gone and broken through some structure here on the left, which is great. We've seen a lot of momentum here in the last bullish move, and it's left behind a really healthy area of confidence. So if price can come back, retest resistance there, test the trend line, look for some rejection, there's a good chance we do push back into this area. And if pound is going to be very bullish, and if this is going to be another major higher low, let me do that again, and the major higher low, then there's actually a chance we push all the way back to the high there. But that's a story for another day. I think realistically we'll give this level a good go, and that's the direction I'm looking to trade in. but this looks like a reversal to me. Price tried to be bearish. Now we're pushing bullish. If I drag that over here, that is looking like a reversal to me. We've gone from being bearish to bullish. So now the expectation is a correction and more upside, which is exactly what I'm looking to trade here. So that will be the plan there for the USD pairs. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, I'm not really too interested in. To be honest, I expect more upside, but I just don't like the price action. Anton, commodities, you trade a lot. Copper 2, Brent 2, okay. I don't really trade. I trade gold and silver. I don't really trade oil, although I'm looking to add oil to my trading list this year. I do keep an eye on oil from time to time, but I don't personally trade it on my own personal capital. But I will be looking to add it to my trading this year. I'm trying to expand the markets I look at. I already look at quite a lot, but the more the better I see it, because a good opportunity can come anywhere, can come on Bitcoin potentially. And, I'd rather take a good opportunity than take an okay opportunity on another pair. It doesn't really make much sense. So I'm trying to expand my palette. Copper, I've been keeping an eye on copper recently as well. It's a bit of a more new market to me. I've looked at it briefly over the past couple of years, but not consistently. But I'm starting to keep a little bit more of an eye on it because, again, this one I might look to add to my trading list as well. Again, it's another metal. Generally speaking, pretty bullish on this one. Looking for us to return back to highs. This one's trading into some major resistance at the moment. If we can break through that, it looks to be a lot of upside back into the high here at 5.15 there for copper. Okay, natural gas as well. You trade natural gas a lot. Yeah, natural gas. I'm not sure about natural gas. It gaps a lot. I don't think it's good for swing trading. I think intraday trading natural gas might be good, but it gaps way too much for me to be interested in it. Same reason why I wouldn't really look to try and trade stocks either. Don't trade crypto. Yeah, I mean, I don't trade crypto at the moment either, but I probably would be looking to try and add at least BTC to the list, maybe Ethereum if things go well. Because again, Bitcoin, again, still relatively very, very small compared to like a market like Euro USD. Of course, the volume of Bitcoin is tiny compared to Euro, but it's slowly growing, and it's of course the most kind of popular cryptocurrency. So if I'm going to pick a cryptocurrency to trade, it will be Bitcoin. Because at least I know that one will be the most stable. Of course, stable is a funny word in terms of crypto because we can see big corrections, but I know it's going to be the most stable. So it's the one I'm going to pay most attention to. Okay, natural gas in the 5 minute makes sense. If you're going to trade natural gas, I would be right on the intraday time frames. That one gaps way too much for me to be interested in swing, because especially if I'm holding it over a weekend, and then that gaps for me or gaps against me. Of course, it gaps for me, great, but if it gaps against me, you can see this is the daily chart, and look at this for a gap. Price closed here, then opened all the way up there. If you had if you were short somewhere down here, stop loss here, you're looking at a huge loss there on the open of that new candle. So it will be a situation where you kind of want to be in and out on the day, or if you are looking to swing it, you have a really big stop loss, so you're not too afraid of the gaps. Of course, that will skew your risk to reward. These are some pretty big gaps. So because of that, I'm not really interested in natural gas. But if you're going to trade it, drop to the intraday, so you can be in and out on the same day. Crypto not that adequate. Yeah, if you're not interested in crypto, again, there's no need to trade, especially when you're an intraday trader. I think if you're a swing trader, you kind of want to broaden your horizon, look at as many charts as you're comfortable with, because at the end of the day, for swing trade, it could take a while for a setup to come around. and you don't know where your next setup's going to come from. Intraday, you possibly could get a trade every single day, and then you kind of just pick and choosing which ones you want, and spending a lot of time with particular markets will allow you to become a bit more comfortable with your trade setups and master it a little bit better as well. So yeah, you don't want to be looking to trade too many if you're intraday. Most speculative, I could imagine. I mean, I don't know many people that trade natural gas, to be honest. But yeah, again, it's up to the trader, because if you make your money on natural gas or oil or copper, it's still profit. But you need to make sure that you're spending your time wisely. And I know natural gas is probably not for me either. But like I said, copper, I may be looking to add that to the mix pretty soon. Platinum, I'll probably look to add that to the mix pretty soon as well. Again, these are markets that, again, I've kept eyes on over the years, but not really spent a lot of time on them. But this year, I'm looking to see if I can add at least oil, Bitcoin, and at least copper, maybe platinum as well, and maybe Ethereum if Bitcoin goes well. But yeah, this one has been a little bit choppy. So even if I was trading platinum now, I wouldn't be looking to find any opportunities, because that is a horrendous price action there since 2022. These coppers had a bit more of a trend to it. Commodities are absolute performers. Oh yeah, you can trust commodities, of course, a little bit more than crypto. And yeah, make the most. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Well, if you've got a good rhythm, finding a lot of success with natural gas, then just focus on that. Then, um, if you look at some of the best traders of all time, a lot of them kind of just make a lot from opportunities which they can maximize. If you got a good rhythm and you're finding a lot of opportunities and good trading opportunities, and you got an edge that's very in sync with a particular market on a particular time frame, you want to kind of maximize that as best as you can. And of course, anything that isn't going too well, it's either one or two things. First option, disregard it. Second option, try and make it work well. And if it doesn't work well, just focus on the things that are working well. Because at the end of the day, it's a business. If something isn't paying you, if you've got a product in your shop which just isn't selling, but you still have to pay, you know, pay to stock up on that product, but it just isn't selling very well, but you've got another product that is selling pretty well, well, then of course you're going to maximize your attention on the product that is selling well, and see if you can do it better, and try and get more return out of that same product. And something that isn't working, either get rid of it and replace it with something else that might work in the future, or see if you can redeem that product. And the same thing with trading. Something isn't working well, get rid of it is the easiest way. Sometimes, of course, you can correct it and make it work well, but if you have something that's already doing the job, then you want to spend most of your time there. Okay. Yeah, if that's the case, if you have less success with other asset classes, that's completely fine. We're not here to be experts in everything. Um, yeah. Anyway, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I will be live again actually later today with Trader Nick, actually, on his channel. So we're going to go through some of the markets with him and Marco as well. See what happens with the news this afternoon as well. Like I said, I'm in dollar CAD, so we'll see how USD does affect my position here. And I've got a small position on Aussie CHF, but yeah, I'm not really too bothered about that one. Dollar CAD is my main focus right now. If I do get any other positions, I'll let you guys know as well. Join the Telegram, link in the description. Also, check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel. I share ideas there as well. Other people do too. You can join discussions. Of course, if you want to find out more information about Elevating Traders itself, you can find that in the Discord as well. Completely free to join. Link in the Discord. link to the Discord in the description below and also at the top of the chat as well. But guys, I really do appreciate you tuning into the stream. If you have enjoyed it, please be sure to drop a like on your way out. I do really appreciate everyone who does like the stream and does subscribe to the channel. It does really help out growing the channel. So I do really appreciate everyone who's liked and subscribed. And of course, whilst you're at it, hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If I don't see you later on TradingNic's channel, I will see you tomorrow. I'll be live on my channel as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, pop in, say hi, come and have a chat with us. But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. And I'll catch you all in the next one.